from the Energy Boutique with your energy forecast for Sunday, June 12th. So we have the moon moving out of Scorpio energy, thank goodness, and moving into Sagittarius. So here's the thing. Anytime we're moving out of the moon in Scorpio, which is typically very dark, very intense, very passionate, very fired up, very transformative, very revealing in all the wrong ways, we have this Sag energy that is the light at the end of what is a dark tunnel in the Scorpio energy. We also have the Sag energy not only as the bright light holding the torch, showing us the direction that we need to move out of the funk and move closer towards, but we have the Sag energy setting us up for the full moon that we are going to have on Tuesday. So the moon in Scorpio will be around for the majority of the day. We are going to go void, of course, 5:40 p.m. We are going to lock into Sagittarian energy at 6:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is also the last day that Mercury will be in Taurus energy, so we have to expect a lot of pressure in our mental planes, a lot of jitteriness, a lot of nervousness, a lot of frustration. Why? Because we're at that 29th crisis degree. Mercury is preparing to move back into its place of power in Gemini energy tomorrow. And typically speaking, anytime we reach those last critical degrees of a planet moving out of one sign and into the other, it just creates another layer of intensity. And thank goodness for that. Hopefully when Mercury moves into Gemini, I'll be able to do one of these forecasts without getting my tongue tied, without absolutely messing up what it is that I've been trying to say, without my brain totally going on the fritz. I'm really looking forward to that. But here we are still having to navigate the final degrees of Mercury being in Taurus energy and entering into the full moon window. There are 11 different aspects taking place here today. 11 of them involve the moon. What do we know about that? It means it's an emotional moon day. On Sunday is ruled over by the sun, and having a moon day on a sun day definitely puts us at odds. We are really trying to choose at this particular point whether we are going to resist change or whether or not we are going to embrace it. Right out of the gate, we have the moon in Scorpio bumping into Mars, its co-ruler, in the most positive of ways. This is really firing us up, using our intense passion, desire for all the right reasons. Mars, again, the god of war, ruling over our physical energy, our drive, our passion, even our anger, is in his place of power in Aries. We just want to take action. We want to jump into something new. We want to start fresh. Are we going to do that? Nope, not a good time for that. But we are revving up the engine, getting prepared, ready to go. The moon in Scorpio has done a lot of inner contemplation over the last couple of days. We're getting our heart and our head on the same page, kind of. Only in recognizing where it is that we have to let some aspects go, put a death to certain aspects, especially flashing back to eclipse season. When we had that full moon total lunar eclipse in Scorpio, this whole weekend was a reminder of all the things that fell apart, all the things that collapsed, all the things that we had to detach from and be totally destructive in order for there to be a space for brand new elements, brand new foundations, routines, relationships, money matters, to actually have the space to be formed, to be manifested, to be brought to life. So the moon bumping into Mars in this way is firing us all up in the right energies. Even using aggression in a positive way acts as the catalyst that we need in order to make some of the changes that we have to make first within ourselves, with our head space, with our heart space, and then we get to align in our physical bodies to be prepared and prepped to take a physical action, take a move forward. The moon bumps into Jupiter in not the nicest way. Let me just say that Jupiter at this particular point in Aries energy is also revving the engine. This is why we're on the precipice, the cusp of itching for change, of jumping into something new. But the moon in Scorpio bumping into Jupiter at this particular time is likely going to illuminate some darker thoughts, some darker emotions, because we have to sit in a scarcity mindset, a lack of mindset, what we're tired of, what we're done with, what we're, cutting the cord with in order to open ourselves up to new opportunities, new chapters, new timelines. This is when the moon bumps into the sun in not the nicest way, but it does provide us with a learning opportunity, a choice point, if you will, on what we're going to do from here. The sun, of course, is in Gemini energy, helping us to debate two very extreme choices, decisions, paths, directions, opening our mind up to new thoughts, new ideas, new ways to communicate and express ourselves. The moon in Scorpio, very private, very much likes to bottle up those emotions, very much likes to reflect in the past and bring the darkness from the past in the present moment. But we're now recognizing, and we will be presented with a choice point in our physical realms, in our external realms. We will be gifted with an opportunity on whether or not we're going to let our past continuously impact our choices in the here and now, preventing us from truly embodying new qualities and characteristics of topics and themes, chapters, timelines, soul contracts of the new version of ourselves that we've been working very hard to actually embody and anchor in. The moon bumps into Chiron, the wounded healer. This is a positive aspect. This tells us that we took that choice point, we took that opportunity to abandon certain thoughts, certain emotions, certain aspects from our past selves, and we chose to let them go. We chose to drop the baggage. We chose to open up our minds, open up our heart space, and choose to react, to respond in a brand new way. Chiron in this particular aspect is showing us where we had the opportunity to boss up, to heal certain aspects of ourselves, and where it is that we did just that. Keep in mind, the Scorpio moon is all about transformation, turning the darkness into light, turning the pain into power. Chiron definitely illuminating the pain, the trauma, the suffering, and where it is that we have the option to sit in the same old, and repeat those past patterns and behaviors, or where we can choose to react and respond differently, where we can choose a different narrative, where we can choose a different emotion, where we can choose to start something fresh and heal the wounds of our old selves. The moon is going to pop off, though, sit across from, conflict, and oppose this true node in Taurus. So here's the thing. If the true node in Taurus is sitting across from the moon, that means that the south node of the moon, which is in Scorpio, is right on top of the moon in Scorpio. This is a destiny point, choice point, option point, decision point, directional point. The moon sitting across from the north node in Taurus energy is in a conflict because, again, the north node is trying to show us the direction that we need to be going in, the qualities and characteristics that we need to be embodying in order to have a different direction, while the south node of the moon, which is in Scorpio energy, in conjunction with the moon right now, is all of our past junk, our past memories, our past emotions. It's literally everything within our conscious and unconscious selves that keeps us stuck in what is old, tried, tested, and true, what is familiar, what it is that we're comfortable in, even if it's uncomfortable. And this particular energy is amplifying for us. You know what? We really do. We've been hoping and praying. We've been calling out to the universe. We've just been down on our knees, praying for change, praying for a new opportunity. But yet we're not willing to abandon certain parts of ourselves in order for that opportunity to be blessed upon us. Like, what are we doing here? So this literally is a conflict on how can we want a different reality for ourselves, but not willing to change ourselves in order to align with that reality. And it doesn't feel good. We're at odds. We don't know what to do at this point because even though we're in a funk, we know what to expect. We don't know what to expect if we abandon our comfort zone and put ourselves out there in a way that could definitely result in a better situation for ourselves, but it's unpredictable. We don't know. And we have to understand that the moon in Scorpio is a fixed sign. The Taurus energy that the true node is in is a fixed sign. And now we're butting heads. There's a stubbornness that comes from the Taurus energy. There's a fixation, obsession that comes from the Scorpio energy. And we're just butting heads right now. We want to move forward. We want to make progress. But yet many of us are not willing to do things differently in order to actually align with the reality that we actually want to bring to life. Things get sticky when the moon goes ahead and squares Saturn right after. A square is a tension point. It's conflict. We're entering into the boxing ring with the Lord of Karma, who is retrograde in Aquarius, highlighting for us the roles and responsibilities that are weighing very heavily on our shoulders, the system, the foundation, the structures in our lives that many of us are desperately holding on to, even though they've crumbled away and exposed the cracks, that they're not strong enough to house the new version of ourselves, our dreams, our wants, needs, and desires moving forward to the future. And now we have this little boxing situation where, emotionally speaking, we're feeling the pressure, we're feeling the weight, we're feeling overwhelmed by the roles and responsibilities and commitments that we've made because they're suffocating us. We want to be free, we want to be independent, we want to do what is right for us. We don't want to constantly put our own wants, needs, and desires on the back burner in order to make other people happy because we feel a social responsibility to put other people's happiness ahead of our own. We're going to battle it out. The moon trines Neptune. This is going to help us out because Neptune really kind of makes us check out and dissociate from our present moment, from our reality, from the weight of the world, in order to kind of zoom off into la la land, remind ourselves of the dream, the vision that makes us happy, that we want to be living, that we're working so hard in order to actually bring to life. This is going to help kind of calm us down, chill us out. The moon in Scorpio is a water sign. Neptune in Pisces is a water sign. There's a camaraderie here where we're going with the flow. We're using our intuition. We're using our dream state. We're using our creativity to come up with the solutions that we need to come up with in order to bust away from the old, in order to free ourselves up to embody the new. The moon is going to sextile Pluto, its ruler. This is a beautiful energy because it speaks of a huge inner transformation that we're currently going through in our psyche, in our heart space, to realize unconsciously where it is that we're still being caught up, held up in a state of paralysis, fear-based narrative, preventing us from truly moving forward, realizing that some of the aspects that have already taken place, the thoughts, the emotions that we've already gone through throughout the day, is really illuminating for us where it is that we're desperately holding on to the old that we know is no longer serving us, while still praying for the new and seeing the new be delivered to us. We're only having to let go of the past in order to jolt 4 steps forward, to grab onto the rope of the future. And now we're being pulled in 2 different directions. But the Plutonian energy tells us that the inner transformation that has to happen in our psyche and in our heart space, first and foremost, that we're going through the right process. We're going through the right ringer, if you will, in order for us to realize where the dysfunction of our past selves, our old narratives, our pain, our suffering, literally needs to die in order for us to step into a new level of power and authority, for us to create a brand new reality, not based off of the past circumstances that we had to kind of push through. The moon is going to bump into Mars this time in not such a nice way. And this is going to create a lot of anger and frustration. But what I will say is that if you have enough control and discipline over your emotions, sometimes anger and frustration is the beautiful fuel that we need to light the fire in our heart space and under our ass in order to actually make the changes that we're afraid of making. Now, the Mars energy does lend us a boldness, a bravery, a courage that we might not otherwise have. However, we need to be disciplined enough. We're getting that fixed energy, pumping the brake from the moon in Scorpio to say that, okay, yeah, I know where I need to take a risk. I know where I need to put myself out there. I know where I need to move forward. However, I just don't know if I'm ready to take my foot off the brake, right? This particular energy is going to frustrate us because we know that in order to get to where we're going to have to take the foot off the brake. And, this Mars in Aries energy is just pumping the gas. Like the engine is revving, the smoke is just illuming, our tires are spinning, there's hella sounds, hella sensations going now, but we just can't seem to take that freaking hard brick rock of a foot off the brake. Now the moon is going to sit across from Mercury in its pretty much final degrees of Taurus, again, adding another layer of intense pressure in our headspace here today. This is the last aspect that the moon is going to make before going void, of course. We have to understand that there's an intensity building. We have to understand that this is going to have a major effect on our nervous system. We might likely have bubble guts because our digestive system is just going through the ringer. And the moon opposing Mercury is really putting our heart and our head at odds with one another. We are definitely not on the same page. We're coming out of the darkness. We're coming out of the funk. We've been recognizing where the change and the transformation is needed, but we haven't quite wrapped our heads around that yet. So Mercury, being ruler of the mental plane, ruler of information and communication and how it is that we're expressing ourselves, we might just find ourselves at a disconnect, not even knowing what it is that we're thinking, what it is that we're feeling, what it is that we need to express. We're moving into the full moon window, which means that we're full of energy. We're full of piss and vinegar. We're full of lots of things that we want to get out of our body, but the delivery likely will not be pleasant. And right now, we don't even know how to articulate it in a way that makes sense to ourselves, let alone is going to make sense to anyone else. We do have to watch out and be cautious that we do have a tendency to kind of project our fears, our doubts, our insecurities out into the world, especially on people that don't really deserve that kind of lash out from us at this particular point in time. And we wrap the day up with the moon moving into Sag, which is going to lighten the mood up, lighten the vibe up. It is going to, add to the intensity of the fire energies currently kind of floating through the cosmos. But the moon in Sag, its very first aspect, isn't really a pleasant one with Chiron, the wounded healer. So it's almost like the Sag energy takes us emotionally to this very extreme place where it's very intense, where we have no direction, no focus, where we just know that we're feeling a lot. We don't know the details of it. We're just feeling extra. We're feeling dramatic. We're feeling bubbled up. And Chiron, the wounded healer, is here to expose our wounds in order for us to have the wisdom and the resources within ourselves to focus our energy and attention on healing them. To say that today is calm would be an absolute lie. I want you to think of the Scorpio energy as a bubbling volcano. And I want you to understand that the Sag energy, especially under this full moon intensity that we're building to, is when the volcano is going to explode. The beautiful thing that happens when a volcano explodes is that it burns everything around it in order to regenerate the earth around it. Beautiful plants come back to life. The soil is enriched. That bubbling up feeling gets to explode so that we can simmer back down and no longer be a threat to ourselves and to the people around us. So it is going to be a heavily turbulent day, I would say. But again, may I remind you that we have to have a little bit of an explosion before we find calmness. We have to feel unstable before we gain stability. And we have to have a breakdown before we're prepared to handle the breakthrough.